it. I actually, like, ooh, don't want to miss class today. I got to get out of here. And I'm sure people feeling like that during COVID too. Like, you don't want to be in a house with people fussing. And then, that is what your kid learns is normal. So when they got a boyfriend or girlfriend and they always like, you so stupid, shut up. Or they hit each other or something like that, if you do that in front of them, that's acceptable. That's where they're going to take that where they go. For example, I dated in college and I threw a roll of toilet paper at one person and they were like, peace, don't ever talk to me again. It's like a roll of toilet paper. And it was like, oh, I learned a lesson, like, oh, people aren't going to accept that crazy behavior.
Absolutely not. Especially if they have gone through a level that they know that that's toxic. Because it starts with a roll of toilet paper, and next thing you know, you run them over in the car. But
yeah,
just kidding.
Talk about that one, and with no shame. Honestly, that's another thing I would equate to television, because you're seeing all this drama on TV, and I feel like people are kind of acting out what they see on TV. And I tell people, Nene Leakes get paid to be crazy on Housewives. You don't get paid. You can't be. Talk to the hand. You can't talk to people that way. You can't be telling people, take several seats. And I cannot stand that stuff. Do not talk to people that way.
I haven't seen that show in probably about 5 years because it's so negative as far as the picture that it puts out. That
hip hop used to make my chest hurt, girl. I was like, oh Lord, I can't believe she just said that to her mama.
Yeah, it's too much.
Like, ooh. No,
I never watched any of those shows, to be honest. But I'll say I actually, from my perspective, actually I had the opposite. So I had a two-parent home my whole life, thank God for it, and they have installed very steep values of partnership, love. Like growing up, I cannot remember a time I heard them arguing. When I would come into the room, they would they might have been arguing, like in hindsight's 2020, right? But they might have been arguing, but they would turn it into a joke. They would be laughing, and my dad would make little slick comments in joke form. As a kid, you don't understand it, right? You're like, oh, they're just playing, right? There's jokes, right? And that's how they would get through those arguments. And this is two people who raised 5 boys, 5 men now, right? I'm the youngest of 5 men, and I can't speak for my brothers, but for myself, there was always a sense of partnership, right? Both my parents had each other's back. There was never a point where I could say something to my mother and my father wouldn't speak on it. There was never a point in time where I could say my dad did something wrong or something like that, and my mother wouldn't defend him. Through and through, no matter what they were going through. It was only till after I went to college and got my own place is when I started to see the adulthood of things, right? It's the cracks in relationships. And, it was a conversation with my father. Was like, man, we held together. I don't know how long this ship's going to sail. They're still happily married, by the way. They're still happily married. They love each other. But, you go through that.
They were tired of you.
They were probably tired of me.
You get out of there.
No, they went through.
I can see that.
I retired, beautiful older people. Right. But no, they definitely taught me how, you certain things you don't show your kids. Certain things you want to keep behind closed doors. Certain things are not for the prying eye. And privacy is very important in a relationship. Everyone doesn't need to know your business. Everyone does not need to be a part of it. So that's one thing that they installed in me greatly is that, whereas I'm very private, not now, but more or less before, I was very private about a relationship or things like that. And so when it comes to having both parents, especially when they're both a partnership, it's something that you strive for. It's something that you don't want to get wrong. You want to make sure that you can find that partner, somebody who is actually going to have your back. Somebody not just y'all go on picnics together, but in the hard times, I've seen them. They started a business, and my mother had my father's back through and through thick and thin. When he wanted to move to New York, she was right there with him. So that's just how they raised me. And so seeing being a mentor years later, seeing people, and it was actually a funny joke. Me and one of my other friends, our households were the only two households out of like maybe 20 close friends, where we the only ones out of two out of 20 were the only ones with both parents.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. And so all of our friends, to us, it was normal, right? And to us, it was like, oh, both our parents are here. You know, oh, my mom's here and my dad's here. You say hi to both of them. They're in different rooms. Whereas our other friends, it was like, oh, mom's not home. She's working. So, you know, so you see that, and then you kind of see the outcomes, most of which turned out good. But then you see people kind of suffer because of that lack of a parent, and especially with the kids, seeing having both parents at home. There's one family that I mentor. It's become a friendship. But the kid, there's an older kid, and then there's 3 younger kids, and I mentor all of them. But their parents are so involved. They're the only couple that are together, but they're very involved in everything we did. Whether it was field trips, whether it was helping out with somebody's birthday party, they were there. They were involved. Whereas other parents didn't have the time. Our organization almost became something of foster care. Like, take them. Thank God. Give me some time so I can go be an adult, you know, so I can do my thing, you know. And it sucks because the kids see that. They understand that. They get that I'm not wanted, you know. And because the parent in that situation is trying to be, they made the decision to be single, or not be with the father or the mother, whoever, and their child now is suffering, and it shows. They show in every aspect, whether it be little girls who I saw out there fighting in front of their front yards, or little boys who were mistreating little girls. You know, it plays that role depending on the situation, and I think co-parenting, I think having both parents is very powerful.
So cohabitating and co-parenting, 2 different things, because
I was just about to get there. I promise I was about to get there. I was gonna say that choosing. So you in life, you don't just choose somebody you love. You choose somebody. You choose a partner. You choose somebody you can coexist with and build with. Because once you choose somebody you love, right, somebody you find attractive, and this person has a lot of red flags, and you produce children with this person, then you run that game of now you have to spend probably the rest of your life with this person. You know, you got kids together.
Figure it out. Yeah, you
gotta figure it out.
You're connected, right?
Yeah, and so it's very important. It's very important, and I think this generation is running to the curse of seeing the television screen tell them that they need to be with somebody, instead of saying, I need to find somebody that values me, that I can build with, that I can create something great with, because
I'm okay with waiting for that.
And they ran into the fairy tale. Like,
yes.
We buy into this fairy tale that the marriage is supposed to be this perfect mom in the kitchen cooking, and dad is. I am blessed that I had Ricks and Charlie Stanley. They were some of the best examples of love I can think about, because they did argue, and they did show me that they weren't getting along at times, but then they came right back and they showed me what love was. So I got it. I got how to argue and love. I got how to take care of people through strong, hard times. I got that from them too. So I'm so grateful. But I do know that in today's time, we tend to marry the fairy tale, and what we hope is good and healthy and strong, rather than truly looking for a strong and healthy relationship, which is unfortunate, because all of those we find ourselves crying in the corner. And I did it myself, trying to figure out how that person let me down, or how that person did me wrong, where the entire time I was the person who was looking for something that was never there. So I couldn't really hold them accountable for not being who I wanted them to be, rather than accepting them for who they really were. And I think that that's what, in relationships today, we set standards for people to be here. This is what I need you to do, this, 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 and this. Well, was he doing that before you met? And if he wasn't taking care, if he wasn't paying his own bills, if he wasn't taking care of his children, then what do you think getting with you is going to make him now do this? People are who they are, and we have to meet people where they are. We just have to do that. And until we start doing that, we're always going to be.
We look for, a lot of people look.
Would you buy a house with no doors on it?
A lot of people look for the wedding and not the marriage.
Absolutely. Oh, that's good.
I was going to say with parenting and co-parenting, when, you know, you live in two different households, you know, even if there's the dad that wants to participate fully, there's the dad that pays child support, there's the dad that doesn't pay child support, and vice versa. With women, I see a lot of dudes that are single dads. So you might not like that person. You might not be able to stand that person. You might want them to go away all you want, but your kid still needs that person.
Absolutely.
And as much, I don't want to say nothing too bad. Okay. You know, as much as my ex-husband might get on my nerves and I might wish I could just have my son to myself, my son loves his freaking dad. It's nothing I'm going to do. There's nothing I can do to undo that. And I don't want to. So, you know, as I went out to date after that, I was like, my son don't need a dad. Okay, he good. His dad take him canoeing, he takes him hiking, he takes him fishing, you know, they grow a garden together. So he, you know, he's good. He loves his dad, and I give him the other side, which is, you know, the discipline and, you know, schoolwork and business acumen and stuff like that. You know, my son be like, well, what is mama? I'm like, he's listening to my conversations. So I give him this whole other side, you know, that makes
and
him.
I have to say the same thing. My boys love their father, and so and I know that
it's baffling, is it though? Isn't it like, dang, you like him? You like him? I like him.
No matter what, I attempt to be positive and say the best things and the right things about their dad with them. And not just for that, it's just too much mental space for me to hold anger and being upset with him for something that didn't work out. We were a two-person relationship, and regardless of what he did, I allowed it. So at this point, we're divorced, and he's still the kid's father, and they love him, and I'll always support him in being the father to them. So, and not to be angry, it just relieves a whole lot of nonsense. I don't have the strength to be mad all the time. I mean, it just wears you down, and I just don't have the strength to that anymore. I just don't.
Yeah.
It's freeing. It's freeing not to. It just takes so much to hate someone, and it's just freeing not to have that anymore. Plus, it frees up mental space to learn to love yourself and then find actually what you're looking for. But if you allow all that mental space on that person and what they're doing now and what they didn't do when they were with you, and it's just too much. You'll never grow from that. You'll never grow.
Bag. Yeah, drop the bag. Put it in the bag.
Yeah, just drop them. They are on their own soul.
I wrote him a 4-page letter, you know, because I was seeing how things was becoming so negative, and I said, you know, I loved you, you loved me. I hurt you, you hurt me. But my son is gonna get, you know, graduate from high school, get married, have a baby. I'm not going anywhere, so we probably need to drop it.
Yeah.
What I learned too is let's just not have too many conversations. Let's just not get too deep. Just keep it strictly on this, and we're good. Because you know,
yeah.
Let's keep it like they say, keep it funky. But you know what too? I was gonna say there's on the other aspect of codependence. Some people, you know, moms or dads, their kid is the whole center of the universe, and that is also an imbalance. Mm-hmm. Because you can't date or ever get married again, or you're going to wait until your kids grow up, and it's going to hurt your feelings when they don't need you. So I know for me, like I try to raise my son as if, okay, one day you're going to be gone on your own, you know? I know you ain't going to be worried about me. You're going to have a girlfriend, you can be worried about me. I said, you always going to love me? He said, yeah. And he ain't going to be worried about me. He's going to be gone.
As he shouldn't though, Mom. I mean, he should be making sure that you're good, but you're rearing him up to be his own man and go and live his own life and find enjoy all the things in the world that you have prepared him for. This is an amazing world. Why you want him to go and see it, and you want him to enjoy it. You don't want him sitting down to you every day talking about, Mom, I'm on the way home. You want me to bring you a burger?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that as a 30-year-old man. You want him to go out. Plus, you have done what God, the universe, has asked you to do. You've reared a strong young man. And as he goes on his journey in life, you now can start your next level of life and start doing the other things that you want to do. And
you give him permission to go be something greater.
Absolutely.
You give him that permission. And once you give somebody permission to do something greater with themselves, the sky's the limit. Because now he's not saying, Mom, like, oh my God, I can't move too far because my mom is by herself. Like, no, son.
Sounds to date somebody. They always talking about their mom. Like, are you serious? You serious? It's my birthday this weekend. You serious? Your mom told you what? Like, what?
Yeah. And that could kill any momentum that somebody can have in that aspect. Ooh. To business, to relationships, anything. When you're so dependent on somebody else's, that's not your child's, like, life. Like, mama gonna go do her thing. She gonna live her life. Live it.
When mama get ready, you gonna be hurt. You be, ooh.
What you say?
But when mama get ready, I mean, there's some dudes that's like, yo, you think your mama just chilling all the time? You know? Hey, mama gotta have a life. That's what baby boy say.
Mama gotta have a life.
I'll say this. I have a
when she drop you, she gonna drop you hard. You gonna be like, what? Mom, what?
You just have to have a very healthy conversation with your son to know that you didn't get here by prayers and wishes. You didn't get here by prayers and wishes. I did not go to the altar and you showed up. There was some things involved.
Not Mary, not Mother Mary. This is not the Bible.
You were not an immaculate conception. Let's just be honest.
Wow. And guess what? If they pull up in the car, I will gladly get in the back seat.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
You see that?
God. I said, you guys can work and have a big house. Just put me a little house in the back and I'll watch the kids when you guys go to work. I'll be like, abuelita, abuela. I'll cook, you know. I don't want to.
Now, Erica, are you referring to that video that was out?
I was talking about the video.
See, and that's I had a few conversations the last few days about that video.
I don't want my son to treat nobody like that.
No, and that's the crazy thing. There was different perspectives about it. Does the mom come first? Does the wife come first? And one of the perspectives, I'm not gonna say where I stood, but one of the perspectives in the conversation, was that you don't see your mom all the time. You live with your wife. It's as a woman, and I'm not. This is not my perspective. This is not my perspective. But as there was, actually came from a woman. But it was, you should want the respect of the mother enough to say, well, that's who brought him here. I wouldn't have him without her. So I'm gonna give her that respect to take the back seat in this instance. But I see both sides. If
mama was with her man, your ass would be in the back seat.
Okay. And so let me give my perspective, and this is my perspective. Mm-hmm. As a mother, I should be encouraging them as a couple. So I want to be in the back because they're moving together in their path. I'm not. They're there together as a couple. That's their partner. His partner. They're moving forward. I should take a back seat to his wife because I've had him and I've done the best I've reared him up to be the strong young man. I have no problem sitting in the back seat if I'm not sitting in my own car. Mama probably gonna drive herself because she gonna want to leave when she want to leave. Nevertheless, I will take a back seat to his wife, regardless of how I feel about him, because he is my son. I'm not his spouse.
He's not my man.
That's not my spouse. And for it to even be to be a conversation about respect if you're an elder, you're sitting in the back overseeing and making sure that they're good, allowing them to conversate and move forward and giving conversations on the end, putting your two and giving wisdom and stuff from the back seat. You ain't got to sit next to them.
You be over there blowing her kisses, squeezing her hand, being romantic.
Rubbing the thigh and all the good.
You know what? My son used to be like somewhat insensitive, and I've pretty much shared with him like I have feelings, and you're not gonna turn yourself on and off and disrespect me. And I do that not for him. I do it so when he gets married, he understands when you piss her off and she don't want to hold your hand or listen to you talk about your job today. Don't be surprised because you treated her like crap, and she has feelings. So am I preparing him to be a man that's married and having a successful relationship, or am I training him to be my boyfriend when I'm 77? I don't want him to be my boyfriend.
No.
That's very good.
Right.
That's very good. That's very good. I love that.
But you think about it, because if you have to think about it like this, if my mom gets a husband or a man, is the man gonna go sit in the back seat?
Probably not.
To be in my son, you think about it. So whatever that was some selfish.
Look, we all saw Baby Boy, and we see how that turned out. You know,
hey,
mom got to have a life too.
I want my breakfast.
Yeah.
And the same thing he had on.
Woo, Jesus.
Yeah. So I get it. I do. I understand. I did not agree with the process of the mom having to get in the back, the wife having to get in the back seat. I more so didn't agree with the fact that it was an issue, because clearly no lines had been established with the mother and the son prior to that for that to escalate. Because the daughter was saying, or the daughter-in-law was saying, I'm tired of this happening all the time. You're gonna have to stand up to you. And so a wife should not have to say that to her son. I mean, to her husband. You need to stand up to your mother. Yes, the mom's gonna give some input. Yes, I'm gonna be calling and asking my boys, well, how did your wife doing? Did she cook today? But at the end of the day, if he's at a house and he is grown up where they can cook for themselves, but if you're in a place that you have someone like, I can't do nothing for you. This is who you've chosen.
I dated someone before, and every 5 minutes he was like, well, my mama does this, my mama does that. So they got like particular things they do at their house. I said, but this is my house. So you probably want to go back to your mama house then. Because this is how I do things here. If you don't like how I do things here, you're free to leave. Because I can do some things your mama can't do. So I don't know. What would you like?
And we shouldn't be on the same level, because I do stuff for you your mama don't do, and your mama probably did stuff you can't do your mama. So I don't understand why we're on the same level of. But okay.
So,
absolutely.
Folks gonna be dry and lonely. Dry and lonely. I don't know. That's what they say. They used to say that. Figure out what side your bread is buttered on. Need some dry toast. So how do you encourage the kids with some goal setting?
Ooh, I love this. So goal setting. Start small. We always start small. Something as little as like brushing your teeth, and you'd be surprised. Brush your teeth and making your bed in the morning.
No, that's a big goal for my son.
It's something we might do unconsciously every day, but for a child, setting that small, once you set those little goals daily, and then you plan those goals, like today I'm gonna do this, right? Today I want you to read one page. Once one page becomes comfortable, then 10 pages becomes easy, and just starting the process of goal setting, as well as reassuring them that it's okay to make mistakes. You might set 20 goals and you might only do 10. Still aim for 20, but understand that 10 is still a lot, right? You as long as you've accomplished a certain amount of things, because eventually 20 will become a small number to you. So when you start small with those goal settings, is something that is beautiful for the process of their growth. For small kids, setting the growth, starting small, little steps, baby steps. I always, and this is, I excuse my verbiage, but I always assume everyone's stupid until they prove me wrong. right? And so I always assume people can't do something until they show me they can. And so I don't have a standard to what you can do until you show me that. Now I might believe in your potential to do great, but I don't want to hold you to a standard, because then when you don't live up to that standard,
overwhelmed. Yeah.
It's exactly. And so now you feel like you can feel it. You can feel when somebody is disappointed in you. You can feel it. But as a mentor and a leader, you have to let them know, like, hey, it's okay. I make mistakes too, but we have to come up with solutions. We can't sit in our mistakes. But when you start small, and then once it's just the domino effect, climbing stairs. Before you know it, you're at the top.
You know what I was gonna say? Like, I noticed the first time my son played a video game and he lost, he was like, "Here, you can have it." And I noticed that if he wasn't the best at something, then he would rather quit.
Yeah,
that comes from the generation of every kid gets a trophy. You know,
participation trophies are the worst thing in the world.
I mean, this joker was doing that at 3. I was like, I see something here.
Yeah.
Pac-Man. Whoever wants to give up the controller for Pac-Man? Nobody. You want to stay there forever. When that thing goes wrong and he passed it off, I was like, oh, he don't like to lose.
We're so afraid of competition and confrontation that we allow it to rule our day. And, when you lose at something, you don't get hungry, you're like, well, I just go do something else. Then losing becomes a habit. And once losing becomes a habit, it becomes a lifestyle. And then you don't know how to win.
He's making so much noise.
Somebody decided to join the room. Welcome, second lady. Is that a lady or a sir?
It's Archer. That's my favorite cartoon. So this is the cat. Okay.
Welcome, sir. But Archer's a good show. I've watched it a while, but that's a good show. No, but yeah, no, that's definitely as far as just kind of setting goals and those standards is always starting small. Yeah. Start from the beginning, So.
And just to piggyback on what he says, I do believe that we start small, but then we have to know what a goal is to accomplish. Like, these are the things that what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to accomplish at the end of the day? Well, I want to be able to run track, or I want to be able to shoot the 3-point. I want to be able to shoot a 3-pointer. Okay, so if that's what you want to do, what will it take for you to get there? And then you start mimicking those things. What is it that you're wanting? What is the goal that you're setting? What do you want your end result to look like? So for me, for my kids, if you want to, what is that end goal that you want? And then we start toward that. Because if we just say, well, I just want to be happy. Well, what does that look like? Well, I want to be, we have to start knowing at the end, we want to know what we're building and what we're fighting for. So when times get hard and things don't look as good as we think they do, we can remember that this is what I'm doing it for. So as parents, we know we want to raise healthy, strong, stable-minded children and keep them safe within the world that we're in. And so we do that. That's what we want to do. So then we start doing little things to make sure that they're there. There's nothing that's guaranteed, but it does bring them in. It kind of narrows the path of I did give them that. I did make sure that they love themselves. I did make sure that they know how to manage their money. I did make sure that they know how to cook and make sure that they're good. I did. You start checking these things off, because the goal that you've set and that you want to accomplish, you're doing the things to get there. And so I think the same thing for children. I mean, more so as adults, but I think the same thing for children.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And then, okay, so we talked about establishing standards, pretty much breaking curses. Have either of you ever read the book Outwitting the Devil?
I have not.
Oh, wow. So the bottom line with that book is definiteness of purpose. So in relationships and in your own life, just establishing that bottom line of definiteness of purpose. Because like, say you start out in a marriage and you guys start out with two different purposes. One person their goal really was to have a baby. The other person's goal was, I just need somebody to help me with these bills. So you're not starting out on the same plane, and people are kind of like wondering why things aren't working. and you know, you're not necessarily lining up with the same goals. And you know, I don't know if you want to speak on that.
I think that for me, I can definitely agree with that, because that's where the conversation and the dating starts. And of course, you have to have your own goals. You got to know what you want before you expect someone else to fulfill that. If you have no idea what you want, then the other person will never hit that goal, because you're constantly saying, you're saying, I want to be financially, you know, I want to be financially stable, but then you get upset with him for going to work. Or you want healthy kids, but then you never take them to the doctor. I mean, you want to be able to hold an intelligent conversations, but you never read, and the only thing you do is watch The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Those things are like a bipolar. That's by two opposite ends of the pole. The narrative that you're creating doesn't fit your end result. Okay, it's not fitting the end goal. So with that, you have to know what you're looking for before you actually expect someone else to know. But I definitely agree with the book. I definitely agree with what you're saying with that.
That's an awesome book, Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil.
Yeah, I agree. And I just wrote down the book for my own study guides. I'm definitely gonna read that by the time next time we have a conversation. So
yeah, I feel like it's definitely something. And then sometimes you can start out on the same page, but then people forget why we're doing this. I always looked at it, well, not always, but I start to look at marriage now like this is it is a corporation. You just made a merger of a corporation. Right. So two people should be bringing the best into it. What do you have to bring to this if the person is adding to you or not? It'd be like, say, if Donza's family, you produce sugar and Godfrey's family produces milk, then now we also produce ice cream, because now, you know, we're bringing our resources together to, you know, to build. And maybe sometimes people have too much time on their hands. They don't have any goals in the relationship, and they don't know
what they're doing. They actually have no idea what they're doing, and they don't. Again, they have the fairy tale that they're trying to live, rather than actually setting stable and sound goals for what they're actually looking for. So then, as soon as someone comes around, they scoop that person up, and then a few months later, you find yourself divorced because you don't know what you want, much less having someone to fulfill goals that.
Right. So you're kind of floating aimlessly, and you get picked off into a drift, just drifting off. You know, it's funny that you know what you said, because I used to like to watch Cheaters. I used to watch a lot of TV, but I used to watch Cheaters, and it was like every time the person was cheating, it was like they always said, "You work too much," and they'd be like, I work so I can pay the bills and I can take care of you. And it's like, boom, every time that was what they said. You don't pay me enough attention. You don't spend time with me, and you work too much.
And I see that happen where, especially as an entrepreneur now, seeing that a lot more couples are together as entrepreneurs. And you see, I mean, of course it's cracks, but you see the success rate, right? You see a lot of going and making all this money together, whereas when you have one working and then the other not working. I have two friends very close to me, extremely close, and we used to work together. And the husband, they're married now, but at the time they weren't married, but the husband, I got him a job with me. We worked together, one of my dearest friends, and then we got his wife a job there too. And he eventually got her to quit because he was not happy with her being there, right? So where for her it was like, not only I get the best of both worlds, I get to be with my boyfriend or whatever, and I get to be around somebody who I want to build with. But for him, it was like, hey, I can't be myself. I can't be the guy I am with the boys, you know. And so that was a something that kind of
don't have to be all or nothing.
Yeah, you know, what are you getting yourself into in that situation?
Then you need a work wife, because now you're breaking up the work wife relationship.
Now the work wife is no longer a thing, you know, and now you're not the man, you know, you can't have certain conversations because now wife's around, you know, now you can't be a certain person because wife's around, right? So now it's like also just having a conversation about it years later, it was a thing of protection. Like, this is somebody who worked in warehouse. So this is somebody I love.
Oh.
I'm protecting her. I'm for myself, for my own self. She's an attractive woman. I'm protecting her from the prospect of these dogs trying to get at her. You know, I'm protecting my situation. I want to shelter. I don't care about the money at that point. I want my situation to be okay. So, so it's definitely. I mean, I don't know.
Sound like you're missing something out of this story. It sounds like something. I'm nosy.
This is fun because they're loved ones. I definitely will not go too deep into their story, but
I won't grill you. But
it's some cherry picking going on, isn't it? It's some cherry picking going on in the story, right?
Definitely. There's some parts that you know, but like I said, it's when you have that, you know, I don't know what it is about the work life when it, you know, having somebody who's always working and not spending that time with them opposed to entrepreneurship. I don't know why we still work a lot as entrepreneurs, but it seems like they're allowed
it's different. If you're in a business, this is it. If you're in a business, if your spouse isn't on board with your business will fail. But a job is a little bit different. Because you guys don't have autonomy or control over your situation. And you can't just fire somebody because they made a remark about your wife's booty.
Yeah.
While I was because you're at the job. You ain't at, you know, your place.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to touch on a little bit of that. You kind of spoke about the growth aspect, right, of the relationship. Think of it like a BLT, right, like a sandwich. When you think of the sandwich, most people only see the bread, but they don't know how many components go in that sandwich properly, right? And so when they get home, are they doing self-development? Are they doing personal love? Are they doing growth, right? Are they sitting on the couch watching TV together? You know, what's happening in that sandwich that's creating a relationship? Because then they break up and it's like, who knows what went wrong, right? No one wants to take the blame, but did y'all put the sandwich together properly? Hope that makes sense.
Ain't a sandwich without Miracle Whip. I'm corny. I'm sorry.
I always say, for me, it's always that individual that I'm really big, you all, on self-love, self-awareness, self-confidence. You know, I'm big on that because I know that we cannot, just like you said earlier, we cannot water a pot. We can't water a plant if we're running on empty. And so if we don't know what we don't know, but we can't grow if we don't go somewhere and learn those things. We have to be able to put ourselves in a situation that we can learn more so we can do better. And we always treat ourselves so badly because we think that we're wearing these masks and we think that's the way it's supposed to be. But at the end of the day, I would hope that we as a people, as Black women and as Black men, can get to a point where the love is there and we know what love looks like. I don't think for real, we actually know what love looks like because we've been given so many false images and watered down so much that we think something that's totally not love. And then we complain about it for years that we're not receiving what we want. You live in the house, you have the cars, but you don't feel fulfilled. And you've complained about it for 15 years. Why? Because you don't know really what love is to you. And you're upset because the person you're with is not giving you the love that you feel that you should receive. So at the end of the day, I really do hope that we can get to a point where we know what self-love is. We know who we are. We learn self-love. And then we can get to a point where we can start attracting those people who treat us better, who actually value us as women. And we all don't have to be single. We ain't all got to be single. We just ain't got to be single, but until we start loving ourselves, we will go rotate from man to man to man. And I'm a perfect example of that. I'm a perfect example of it. I'm happy now. I'm good. I got a good old dude. He's
scared somebody might try to tell me what to do. Like, no.
But I do realize that a relationship is give and take. And I like to do what Donza likes to do when Donza likes to do it. But I do realize that I'm not in a relationship by myself because I've done that and that didn't work. I'm in a relationship with someone else. So there's some give and take in everything. And I can't be the only one who's pleased all the time. Like I'm partnered with someone. I'm a partnership. So just like you said, in a partnership, we grow together because there's development on both sides. One person isn't developing, the other one isn't. We can't always, well, you don't know nothing. That's crazy. We both learn and growing. We're both. And so we have to be receptive to the change from the other people, or we won't be in a marriage. We won't be together long.
I think too, people need to be able to be willing to do that love language test, because some people like affection, some people like, you know, gifts, other people want to hear it. And then if you're with somebody and you want to hear it and they sitting there trying to buy it, and you're like, you know, you could have saved you some money, you know, you could have just you could have just told me. Or, you know, maybe it's, you know, you could be in a relationship, and if somebody actually puts their hand on you, it actually startles you because you guys aren't even used to touching or something like that. Or maybe, you know, if it stands out so much when they finally say it because they never say it. People are starving. You think you're loving them and they're starving.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Literally starving.
Next thing you know, you're in an entanglement.
What'd you say?
Next thing you know, you're in an entanglement.
Oh, Jesus, no.
Because you're going outside to get that sandwich. You're going somewhere else to get your sandwich, get your bread.
So much I could say about that, but I don't want to give them the airtime.
That's a lot. That's a lot to unpack there. That's a lot to unpack.
Yeah. I hope people do understand that these people have been in an open relationship since the very beginning, and you really shouldn't stress about what these stars do or use them as an example. So that's my disclaimer, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So, they are not your example.
And at the end of the day, if that's what they've agreed on and they're happy with, who are we to tell them that they can't do it? We're wanting them to live up to our standards of what we think a marriage should be. And no one has, they don't have the responsibility to fulfill our expectations of marriage. They just don't. They don't have that. Even though we want you to be one husband, one wife, and do all these different things because that's what we were told. Whatever they're doing, as long as they're not hurting children and stealing stuff from people, if they're enjoying, they've made a decision that this is what they're going to do. That's their decision. Yeah. Now, I don't know, looking from one side if he agreed, but I'm just saying if that's what they agreed to do, we can't stand in judgment of what we consider to be a perfect marriage because we put them on the pedestal. They didn't ask for it. We put them on that.
Actors act, so that's all I gotta say. Like actors acting like actors acting. That's how actors act. So you know, he's pretty good at pulling tears. You know,
I mean,
with 5 years
of great story,
he's good at that.
I'm pretty sure they definitely had a conversation prior to them going on that stage.
We're gonna go hard this time. I'm gonna get emotional. Okay. We gotta get these ratings up. I'm telling you, those ratings went through the roof. I'm so nosy like that. That's how nosy I am. I was like, ooh, you only had 20 likes today. Now you got 130,000. Ooh. People gotta stop thinking that TV is real. Stop thinking
and it became the conversation. They were the conversation for weeks. They were on everybody's tongue for weeks. And it was so they got exactly what they wanted because they wanted people to start preparing their relationship, what they had going on at home.
How do you reestablish yourself in society, in this society nowadays?
In love with Tupac. They said her daughter still write letters to him.
Oh yeah.
Like that's her dad. So she
wow.
Write letters. So there's some extra stuff that people aren't really seeing, and you know that's why I like Black. When I think about Black Ink, Housewives, Love and Hip Hop, do not imitate any of that in your home, unless the part about the making money.
Right, and I don't watch any of those, but I do love Remy Ma. I love Remy. I'm a Remy girl, but I mean I don't watch.
You can love Remy Ma, but you ain't bringing Remy home.
I'm not gonna bring her home, and I love her music. Let me say this: I love her music back in the day.
Don't channel that spirit.
Yep. I used to love her music. Let me correct that. I loved her music back when I was in high school.
So the last thing that I would say, or one would like to ask is, you know, some people, maybe we're not in a relationship, or maybe we don't feel like we have any problems. Would you even suggest some peer counseling or you know, therapy? You know, because I've talked to someone before and they were saying how they weren't in a relationship, weren't ready to be in a relationship, but they went and got therapy so that they would be ready. Because even though you don't know you got these things, because I don't think we don't realize, like, we're looking at the world through our perspective. So everything is right through my perspective. I'm always right in my perspective. But then, you know, like me, for instance, I went and bought my first pair of glasses and I'm like, wait a minute, I could count the leaves on the tree and I can see it differently now because now I got some glasses. I didn't know that Jeffrey, you know, Godfrey saw it this way. I didn't know Donza was feeling it or seeing it this way. Oh, no, I thought we were all looking at it the same way and I was just right.
Very different lenses. I would highly recommend most people to go get therapy. I definitely would recommend it, or a life coach. I, to this day, have a life coach, and she's phenomenal. She's unpacked things that were that were deep down from my childhood. So I think it's very detrimental that people, especially our people, because we've always been told that that's a bad thing.
Well, see, because we used to call them a psychiatrist or a therapist.
Yeah.
So now having the idea of a life coach kind of, you know,
opens a lot. It opens a lot of doors.
Now you can get therapy without medication.
Yeah. I remember I had a few years ago, and this is actually the funny thing is I had a really bad breakup. And so with this young lady, we broke up. Really, it was a bad situation, and I went to see a therapist. The job actually offered therapy, like you can go see a counselor on their dime. It's a phenomenal situation. So I went and I only took one session, and it took one session for them to reaffirm, for that therapist to not only open doors in my mind, but reaffirm what other people were telling me about who I should be. Like, people were suggesting for years that I go help be a mentor and go, but I didn't. I was like, that's not for me. That's not for me. And so it took that one therapy session for that therapist to say, you know, to get better, this is something you need to do. And I was like, wow. And I thank God for it, because it changed
the pressure off your friends and your family.
Right? Yes. Sometimes we need somebody else to tell us. They
don't have the skills.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes exactly. Our family and friends. It's the law of familiarity, right? I'm not going to trust the person closest to me because I know their dirty secrets. But somebody else outside can tell me the same thing, the exact same thing in their own way, and now I understand it because I don't know that person. I don't know their demons.
They call that being parent deaf.
Yeah, that was good.
I told you that already. Now so-and-so told you. Exactly.
So I definitely highly recommend that. And even, like I said, to this day, I have a life coach. I'm not the person I was before, but I want to get to the next level. And she's someone that's awesome, that's helped me exponentially get to that next level. So, you know, that's something I definitely think people should go into, look into doing for themselves. Mental health. You go to the gym.
Of course, you know, I truly support everyone having some form of life coaching, even if it's someone who you pop in and you discuss something with them once a month, twice a week, and maybe starting out once a week or once every 2 weeks. I just think that everyone should have them because we have so many different things going on in life, and we don't know how to unpack that baggage. We don't know if we are responding to something that we grew up with, and we thought that this was the right thing to do, opposed to actually what we're really wanting and desiring. Like one of the perfect examples I always use is that if you see a man walking through the store and he has a kid in his hand, he's dragging a child, and the child is crying. If somebody's coming from a past that they were kidnapped or they were harmed, they would think that child is in danger. If you have someone who came from abusive parenting, abusive household, they were thinking that child was being abused. But if you had someone who had parents, you know, just parents, they may think it's just parenting. So everyone's perception on something is different based upon your background. So I think it's really imperative that you get with someone that helps you unpack, okay, what am I truly seeing? Am I truly hearing him say that I'm nothing and nobody, or am I putting my father's or mother's voice in that place and then reacting out based upon that? So I think that it's imperative that as we move through life, you know, put somebody on the payroll and be able to go to them and allow yourself. Yeah, you have to be valuable enough to yourself to get to invest in yourself. So I definitely think that everyone should have one, because if I have 3 sisters and a best friend that I love so much, but I know if I tell them something, my sisters are going to say, well, you're going to be all right, girl. We love you. And I know you can do anything you want to. And my best friend is probably going to say, well, why are you doing that? That's crazy. But if I go to my coach, she's going to tell me, well, listen, so what is it that makes you want to do that? What is it in you that tells you that you need to do that? So let's unpack that. And that's what a life coach or a therapist does. They help you unpack your why. Because if you don't know what your why is, you can't get to the end of, the success and everything. You should always know your why with everything that you do. So yes, check the box to life coaching and therapy. Check it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, because there's 2 things that can happen. There's the people that are always gonna agree with you, like, girl, you right. You're right. And they're gonna be right there when you in the flames. They're gonna be telling you you're right. And then there's the people that, like my sister, she don't never agree with me. She always grill me like, why did you do this? She never takes my side. I'm like, you never take my side.
But you hear the emotions in that with her not taking your side. You couldn't get that from a life coach, because she would tell you, well, you tell me why you're doing that. But with our sisters, we're emotional about it. Well, she didn't agree with what I said. Why? So the life coach.
I do it to her too, so.
Huh?
I do it to her too.
Of course.
And then I was gonna say too, so you were lucky enough, Godfrey, your job offered that kind of counseling.
Yes.
I was gonna say too that if anybody, veterans, oh my God, the VA hospital is amazing. They will offer you counseling for yourself, counseling for who you're dating. You can do couples counseling as a dating couple. You can do counseling with your ex-spouse and the child and stuff like that. So the VA hospital, for veterans out there, they will do it for marriage, for you and your kid, for you and the person that you're dating. So that is free, as part of your, well, it depends on what your rating is or whatever, but just know that that's also a resource. So you guys just sum it all up with your credentials and what credentials, recommendation, and how people can find you.
Again, I'm Don. You can find me on all platforms at Perfect Place of Peace. Right now, I have a something going on that is called Finding Peace Within, and it's to help people go through this trauma that we've come through with the coronavirus and all the civil unrest that's going on. To be like I think I said it in the last video. No one talks about the mental trauma that we've all experienced by watching a man literally die in front of our eyes on TV, and it wasn't a show.
Repeatedly watching them.
Because it played so often, and so we've internalized that, and no one's discussing how a mother or anyone, a father, anyone feels about how that has affected us. We have put it away in a dark little corner, and we're okay with it. But at the end of the day, we're not. And that has caused some mental trauma. It's a mental scar. And until we start healing, taking care of those mental scars, it comes out in rage. It comes out in, sexual promiscuity. It comes out in so many different ways. And so we have to start healing that. So I have a special going on called Finding Peace Within. You can go to my website. All of my platforms, like I said, is Perfect Place of Peace. That's my website. You can find me on Twitter at that, on Facebook, and everything as Perfect Place of Peace. And I just think that I'll just sum it up. For me, peace comes from within. We cannot find peace in a husband, in money, in clothes. It comes from within, and that's for all of us. Until we are at peace with who we are as people, and as a person, we'll always be in an entanglement or in a disruptive place and broke financially and all the other kind of things, because peace comes from within. And then we raise our vibrations when we can start loving ourselves for who we are. The universe agrees with us, and we go up and we go up and we go up, and we can elevate ourselves to the place we're supposed to be. So I'm great to be. It was a great conversation. Thank you guys so much for having me.
I know, it's so much fun. I like to laugh.
It is good.
So I'll give my closing piece. This is an honor. Thank you, Erica, for having me. Donza, it's a pleasure to speak with you and share your time. You can find me on Facebook at Godfrey Brun, Instagram at Godfrey_Brun, and on YouTube at Indie Film Insider TV. And that's INDIE Film FILM Insider TV, right? One word. And so also I just wanted to give a little shout out if I could.
Go ahead and shout it out, boy. Shout it out.
I want to give a shout out to my life coach, Teresa Strong Myrick, T Strong Speaks. Go follow her on Facebook, Instagram. I think she's on different platforms, but for right now, Facebook and Instagram. And she's actually she's a best-selling author. T Strong Speaks. Yes, Teresa.
I know her for like years now.
That is my life coach. That is my second mother. Her book, what is it? Attacked in Anger and Died in Love. It's a best-selling book. Definitely check it out. She is having a book signing. She is having a live webinars from August 18th to September, I think it's 8th. Let me double check. Yes, September 10th. So definitely check her out. She is phenomenal. She gives anyone that might be in need, she gives you a free 45-minute session that you can actually interact with her and unpack some of those things that you might have. And like she says, be kind to you so you can be kind to others. I'm sorry, Tia, this is still your thing.
Wow, that's awesome. What a circle. What a circle. I've known her for many years now. Is she in North Carolina?
No, she's actually here in Florida. She's in St. Pete.
Oh, okay, St. Pete now. Okay, well, this go back to gallery view. My name is Erica. I'm the First Lady Erica. You can find me on my website, thefirstladyerica.com, Instagram, Facebook. I have my YouTube channel, and I'm on LinkedIn. I'm with World Financial Group. Normally, we would do things like in the office, have what's called the Mo Zone, and we have people come in. We teach them about our platform and what we do to help business owners with their finances. But, since COVID, we're all online. And what we also like to do during the Mo Zone is let other business owners and people talk about their business. So that's kind of what thrust this, that pushed me into doing this. And now it's just become so much fun. I mean, I still like talking to people, teaching them about financial concepts, how money grows, how money works, but I love sharing information. So I'm just delighted that we got a chance to spend time with each other.